Hello, my name's David Bacella. I am here to record for my final game for game development. This is my rhythm game that I've made. I'm going to go over briefly about how everything works and what things do. I will be going over buttons, note holder, and the current multiplier, and what I've done and where I've gotten stuff. To begin, I've gotten a lot of my stuff from online. Through tutorials to understand and through other assets. For one, I got these game assets from a game called Friday Night Funkin' and this GIF. And I got a lot of this information from YouTube on how to build this. To begin, we have buttons. What the buttons do is they are our interaction and what we'll be using as the player to do this rhythm game. They're simple buttons. They have two sprites to them. One's a hidden sprite where it activates when you press the button, whether it's left, right, up, or down. And the other is just the basic sprite that you see now. And each button has either a right arrow, down arrow, left arrow, or side arrow to use. Let's open the C script to show for the button control how this works. As I said, you have a default and pressed image and a key code to see if a key is pressed. If it's pressed, it shows the image. If it's not pressed, or if the button you use or you press up against it, like you take your finger off the button, the default image will show again. This gives our interaction, but that's not enough. We need notes. Notes and the way they scroll. See? Ta-da! That's a lot of notes. So, for our notes, we need them to scroll down before we get them to interact. To get them, we have a beat tempo of 322 that connects to this song that I've connected from an audio source. The notes are connected to the beat scroller. So everything under the note holder will go by this tempo. The beat tempo is our first variable, and that public voice started, which is connected to down here, right here, and everything below here will make sure that it will be going at the speed of the tempo we set. And that the beat tempo itself will always be by 60F. Create a good set. And the way that it'll scroll, it will scroll on the y-axis of the vector by the time we set. So, if that's how it scrolls down, at that point, how do we get to interact with our buttons? Well, each arrow that I've copied and pasted a bunch of times up here has the first sprite, it has a box collider, and it has a note object holder for the C script. Here, it shows that when it can be pressed, when it doesn't get pressed, and what's the score of when is it pressed, if it's correct. So if it can be pressed through if statements, if it can be pressed, the game object is set. It's hit at a certain position, whether it's the negative y, because that's where these arrows lie. But if it's close, it will be a note hit. If it's, and give a default log that it's hit. If it's a little past it but still good, it'll have a good log. And if it's correct, like fully on the dot, perfect. Now, another private variable that I've done is that if you hit it correctly, the image will disappear. But if it goes past, it'll delete the note off screen. So you won't have to see it anymore. It just keeps falling. nothing happens really. So that only the notes that are hit on the button pressed, it'll do anything. So that makes that, and we have around over 200 notes to hit. But we need something to keep our player interested in ever actually doing this. Game Manager and everything in Game Manager is a little confusing. And I am at 5 minutes. Wow, I'm actually on time. So this is what connects the beat scroller, the button, and the note objects all connected through here. And I used a UI because a lot of the text elements that we use for our canvas that'll be there is through the UI. We get multiple things for the good, perfect, and missed hits right here. And this will connect to the score and the multi-text. Now what's that? Well, while the score will keep track about how many points each one will gain and show the image of how many points you're getting. If it starts playing, it'll continue, and if it stops, this is a results screen. The note hit, if it's hit on time, it'll add to the score. So the current multiplier -1 less than the multiplier thresholds, which it keeps track of how much the score should multiply each time. And this is the score adder, so it'll add to the current score each time for whether it's good, missed, or if it's missed, no score added. And it'll take the multiplier and it'll reset the multiplier. Another thing is, well, we have the current score, and I'll keep track of everything that's the current score going on. And it's easier to see through the game manager down here that's set up, so that I could literally just change it right here instead of going into the code. So we know like the score per note is 1, 5, 10 for the numbers we gave them. The current score is 0. Oh, we show it up here. The current multiplier 2, multiplier tracker 3. And get the size. How big this array is going to be. And if it multiplies by 2, 4, 6, and we put in the score multi-text, which will be, there we go. That'll show what these scores will be like. And it'll add to the scores whether it's a normal, bad, or good hit. Other stuff that I added, besides the song and stuff, is I also put in a reset button using this since it was a lot easier. So that whenever the button is pressed here, on the space down, it'll reload the scene entirely and you can play again. And then for the results, which is hidden, it'll give the final score, the actual score, your score number, the rank of that score, and the rank number, and that you can play again. If we open to Game Manager again, the score set, it compares every hit you got, whether it's a normal, good, or perfect, takes the total, divides it by the total notes, times 100, and gives you a good estimate about how well you did, and compares it through an if statement down here, that if it's less than 50, greater than. This statement is used to just keep it from making it go from like 0 or 100, whether it's an F or an A. Without these statements in the middle, they'll just sort of compare that, oh, well, if it's just below 50, then it's just an F. But if it's above 50, then it must be an A. Like, it just goes through the statements instantly. And these couple statements keep that from doing it. And so we'll compare the ranked text. It'll show that through all that. And the final score that you display. So through all that, because we're in the 10-minute mark, I'm going to play this game and show you what this game does and how it's played. So, the buttons that you're going to use is your keyboard. Left, right, up, and down for your arrows. And once I press a button, the song's going to start and the game's going to begin. Score up there, the multiplier. I'm going to miss a couple notes so we can get a different score. And I got a B. Then I multiplied by 2. So that's my final score. And if I press space, the game resets and I can try again. Oh, don't want that. So that's my game. I hope you enjoyed. I'll put a set of what I used through YouTube, of what sets I used and what tutorials I went through. And I'll also give the YouTube link to this video on how I finished this. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed. And please enjoy playing this game.